Hi, everybody. Good morning or evening or afternoon, depending on when you're watching the midweek moment. Pastor Doug here from St. Andrew's Lutheran and Speedway, and then Faith Lutheran in Avon. It is good to be together today with the forecast of hundreds of inches of snow. No doubt you are stocking up with bread and milk at your home. Did I say this before? Why doesn't the snack aisle and maybe the beer and wine aisle empty out when there's warnings of snow as opposed to milk and bread? I don't get it, but I digress. So here's the big question for this week in our midweek moment, my friends. What does a pastor do? What does a pastor do? I mean, I don't even know if I know. And I've been in the ministry 25 years or whatever. You know, since I began, I have pretty consistently here, I know how busy you are, people say. Oh, you must be so busy, and so on and so forth. And, you know, every pastor is different. Every pastor has different priorities for their time and their schedule. I think the main thing I would say about my use of time is my priority in being available to you. My priority of my time would always be availability to you. So evening phone calls, visits at your home, whatever it may be, hospital, etc. I'm there, and that's my priority in my time. And secondly, would come in to play with visitation. I love to do visits. I try to make appointments almost every week. I routinely see the shut-ins that we have at both churches, and those in any particular kind of need, if there's someone who's been sick or any number of other possibilities. So really what I wanted to say about, my use of time would be that my priority personally for me is you, the family of faith, and any needs from anyone. And then secondly would be visitation and making sure that I get around to the shut-ins for Holy Communion and see those who are in any kind of need. And each week is different. When I first started in the ministry, my colleague talked about that he saw each day as divided into three parts. The average working person has typically, and not so much anymore today, I realize, but generally works in the morning and the afternoon, and then the evenings are off. In ministry, you know, when you have evening meetings, evening council meetings, for example, or other meetings, then what I typically do is pull back for myself sometime in the morning or the afternoon for personally. And so we see the days as divided into three parts, and, you know, try to work two of those three parts, if not more. It depends on the day, of course, and the season, and the time of year, and all the rest of it that comes into play. And so, you know, not only do I prioritize you, the members of the family of faith, and guests and visitors as well, I quickly try to see them when I can. I also, you know, like to do visitation, and then I, you know, try to do what I can to take care of myself in the midst of it all. Each week I take time to prepare faith formation on Sunday night. I do a little preparation. The Bible study on Wednesday night that I lead at 7. Probably takes me an hour or two to read through the commentary and study the lessons for the coming Sunday. So I spend some time doing that. There's obviously some time to prepare a sermon, a message. It reminds me of when I started in seminary. One of our professors said that for every minute that you preach, you need to study for 1 hour. Now, I'm generally, you know, 10 to 15 minutes at the most, and I can promise you I'm not studying 10 to 12 hours of text and the Greek language and all the rest of that. But some time is needed there to read the lessons, to pray about those, and to see how God is prompting me, what would speak to you in your hearts and in your life. When I was really early on in the ministry, and even I can remember before I entered seminary, sometimes the pastor messages would just seem so boring and so sleepy and so monotone, I try to do some voice inflection. I try to provide some human interest stories, talking about water aerobics a couple of weeks ago. This past Sunday, the duck story, kinds of things help to ground the point I'm trying to make with a story, which is the way for the listener to hold on to it ideally and take it home with them. Sometimes I'll work from home if I don't have appointments, or for example, as you're watching this, we're going to be under 5 to 7 to 20 inches of snow. Typically, probably Wednesday will be a work from home day. As you're watching this, I'm probably at home. There are continuing education events. I attend conferences and various kinds of classes and things I can do to further my own education and my own pastoral interest. And some of those take some time during the week. I'm very active in the Speedway Ministers Group, as I have mentioned, to St. Andrews. Speedway Ministers Group and the Speedway Chamber of Commerce. I'm active there, and those take a little bit of time. Also, the Religious Leader Network. Religious Leader Network in Avon, RLN, is a quarterly meeting at the Avon Community School System with other ministers in the area. So a quarterly meeting doesn't necessarily take a lot of time, but I'm part of those, and I do things like a couple of weeks ago, I had lunch with a Avon minister colleague, and I realize that's the lunch hour, but I do those kind of things to stay connected as best I can. And, there's a certain amount of phone calls and email, work that gets done along the way. But bottom line is to say that you, the family of faith, our guests and visitors, are my priority. And I long to be able to make that as a gift that I can be available as needed. And I've believed since I started with Faith and St. Andrews, I have promoted the idea that I am available, really 24/7 as best I can be. And that I long to meet with you if you have a need, a concern, a worry, there's something on your mind. I want to be able to be there for you. So that's just an overview of time from the pastor's side of things. I'm not worried. I'm not overworked. I'm not overburdened. I manage it well, I believe, for myself. And I want you to know that I'm here for you, and that if there's anything I can do, I always want to know that, of course. But generally, between the meetings and the activities like the midweek moment, recording it like I am now, and the hours of preparation that this takes, and that, listen, I got notes, 'cause this took at least, like a couple of hours probably to prepare. I try to take Fridays as a day off. Also, I've tested this out over the times in my ministry. At one period, I was taking Mondays off, and then I felt like that was too late into the week to have a rhythm and a flow. So I try to take Friday as a day off. Saturday, I go to the clothes closet twice a month at St. Andrews. I'll try to do the Friday night and Saturday morning food pantry as I can at Avon. So there's a wide variety, bottom line, but I just thought I would share a little bit about what that's like and what goes on for me. And as I go into our third year together, I just want to tell you that I'm very blessed and honored and thankful. And I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Invite a friend. If there's a member of the church you haven't seen in a little while, give them a call. Reach out. We're in this together as a family of faith, okay? God loves you, and so do I. I will see you Sunday. And